So now we've got the conditions for a binomial, let's talk about the formula we're going to use to calculate binomial probabilities. In order to go into this, we need some notation. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about x, then n, then p. N is the number of trials we're actually going to be taking. This might be the number of people you're surveying or the number of flips of a coin. X is going to be the number of successes. It's important to realize that when I say successes, I don't actually mean it might be a positive outcome. I mean it's the number of things we're counting. Finally, P is the probability of a success. This should remind you kind of what we were doing with permutations and combinations before, which is good because that's exactly what we're going to be doing with binomials. So let's look at an example. Well, unemployment's talked about a bunch. We talk about underemployment a lot less. And so it's important looking at this example to understand exactly what underemployment means. For college graduates, for instance, this could mean that the job they currently have does not require the certifications or degrees that the person has graduated with. It can mean that they have employment insecurity, which is that they're not guaranteed more than 1 week of work. It can also refer to the fact that they're working fewer hours than they would prefer. For instance, someone who's seasonal when they want to be full-time, part-time when they'd like 40 a week, or so forth. So underemployment is a really important measurement as well of how healthy our economy is. This data shows us that out of recent college graduates, people who've graduated in the past year, the current population survey found that 43.4% of them were actually underemployed, meaning that they had a job they didn't need their degree for, or they weren't working the hours they wanted, or they didn't have job security. Now, what we're going to be working with here is saying if we have a group of 100 graduating students in that first year, what kind of things would we expect? That is, first of all, what are the chances? Half of them end up underemployed. Says, as we approach graduation time, what are the chances out of 100 students that half of them will actually end up underemployed during that first year? Now, the first thing we need to realize is that this is, in fact, a binomial, and we can tell that because there are two options. Either you're underemployed or you're not. We also need to make sure that we can think it through and justify the fact that, okay, one student's employment doesn't really impact the person standing next to them. So they're independent, two options, binomial is what we want to be doing here. That means that right off the bat, I'm going to list X, I'm going to list N, and I'm going to list P. Now, N is the total number of people I'm dealing with. In this case, I've got 100 students. X is the number that I want to count. Well, my goal here is to figure out what are the chances half of them end up underemployed. Well, if half of them are underemployed, that means out of 100, I would like 50 of them to be underemployed. So X, once again, number of successes, or how many I'm counting. The final thing I need is P, the probability. I'm counting the number who are underemployed, so P will be the percentage who are underemployed based on my expectation. In this case, I know that 43.4% of all recent college grads are underemployed, so P is going to be 0.434. So let's look at another example here. Let's say I want to know what are the chances none of them are underemployed. That is, I'm asking what are the chances that all 100 people either end up with good employment or no employment at all. That is, what are the chances none of them are underemployed? So, to do this, I need X, I need N, and I need P. Well, I have 100 students still, and I want none of them to be underemployed, which means I'm going to have X equals 0. That's how many people I'm counting. I'm looking at those who are underemployed again, so P, the percentage who should be underemployed according to our statistics, are 0.434. So this has showed us how to come up with the 3 important things we'll need for the binomial formula.